Good.
Hunt here, but we went the secondary route. I think we're good to go. All righty, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Put up there just for a brief look there.
Huh?
So you're on. There we go.
You good?
Yeah, good to go.
All right. God, Mr. Medley has a computer and a phone.
Pulling out all the stops
Just
this
in case I
evening.
get
Hey,
bored.
that's like a streaming dude.
Yeah.
It's just in case I get bored.
We good, Curb? Okay. Turn the lights on.
Ohatchee is in the house.
And we'll need to kill the music.
And have them kill the music. What's up, Coach? And welcome into Stretch Wings in Oxford, Alabama, as we bring you tonight's FNN Tuesday Night Coaches Show. Well, like we always say in the broadcast business, better late than never.
Right.
Baling wire and Band-Aids tonight, folks, but we're here, and thank you for joining us and bearing with us as we start the show about 9 minutes late, but hopefully you'll think it's worth it when we're done. Jim Jacobs, Joe Medley, James Hardy, as we get set to bring you 90 minutes of football talk that we hope you'll enjoy. All right, guys, as we usually do each and every week, let's start with the things that impressed us most last week. And, Mr. Hardy, we'll let you go first.
I think actually, honestly, it didn't involve our game Friday night. I thought it was the back-and-forth battle. One, how Westbrook came back from a 2-score first-half deficit to almost pull out. Really an upset at Ohatchee, but also Ohatchee being able to withstand that and find a way to pull it out.
Yeah, what was it? You said 4th and 14?
4th and 14 when they threw the winning touchdown pass.
Yeah, thank God they can throw the ball in Ohatchee now, right?
Yeah, and you know that I think that's part of what makes this team good this year. You know, they are two-dimensional. They're still bread and butter, but they can beat you the other way too.
Well, the physicality's still there,
yes.
And I think that's really, really important. And of course, Coach Chris Findley is here with us tonight, and we'll talk with him about that just a little bit. But I think we all agreed, talking before the show, that Ohatchee has been the pleasant surprise of the season so far.
Well, surprise, I guess, because of how last season went.
Yeah.
Of course, the way the 0-7 start last year had a lot to do with injuries. And they got those guys back during the season, and they finished strong. And the way they finished is carried forward into this year.
All right, what got your attention this past Friday?
Well, besides Ohatchee being 3-0, you know, Oxford obviously has a chance to be 4-0 this week.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the O Club, Pleasant Valley is 2-0, and they're playing a winless team this week. I think it's since 2007 since they started 3-0.
And I got a note from Coach Nick, so I got to take care of this before I forget to do it, asking us when the award's going to get here for the helmet thing. And I promise all you Pleasant Valley fans that, A, it's going to be worth the wait. B, it's a custom piece done just for you guys. So it's taken a little longer than we expected, but it'll be here soon. And when it gets here, we're going to have you guys on and make the official presentation, and hopefully you'll think it's worth the wait and enjoy having it on the sidelines with you the rest of the season. And hopefully it'll carry the Raiders to a playoff berth that they've been looking for.
You know, there's magic in them darn helmets.
Well, at least most people seem to think so. All right, well, for me, an 0-2 Piedmont is a surprise, but not really. But it's just so weird to say that, isn't it?
Well, first of all, they've opened against the reigning Class 4A runner-up.
Right.
And then the team a lot of people thought would win their region this year, and they gave us no reason last Friday night to think otherwise.
It's Sylvania.
Sylvania, and they're two teams built very similarly. They're big up front, very good up front, pound the rock. And you know, Piedmont's a team that, again, we've said it before, 9 starters lost on offense. One of those was, you know, a generational player in Jack Hayes. 6 starters on defense. I don't think it would have mattered who coached this team this year. These first 2 games would have been a bit of a slog.
I think the thing that, again, we've said this about Piedmont is they're playing for November.
Yes.
Now, they got to get in, and I'm not sure how easy that's going to be in that region they're in right now.
Well, if playing good competition gets you better, they're
going
taking
to
that step
get
the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're going to get better. Well, Joe, tell us about this guy from Sylvania that just ran all over Piedmont and everybody else he's seen this year.
You know, Aiden Parham, he missed a chunk of last season. I forget how many games with an injury, but he came back in time to play Piedmont in the semifinals. And even with the injury, he still had 1,700 yards last year. And they pound him a lot. Again, they're really good up front. I kind of got the sense watching that game last Friday night that they wanted to try to take their shots through the air because they knew they could on first down, because they felt like, well, we can still hand it to Aiden Parham and still get our first downs. And once they started handing it to him and giving him those direct snaps, I mean, he just pounded it down the field. 46 carries for 328 yards. I'm not sure what that averages out to, but it's a whole lot of carries and a whole lot of yards.
Yeah, really. That's a lot of work for a young man.
Yeah, and they might get him injured, by the end of this year. But then, I bet, in easier games that they face, he probably won't get carried that many times.
Well, another thing that, of course, continues to catch my attention is just how good Cherokee County is. I mean, they went to Good Hope and just laid the smack down.
Which is probably what Cherokee County assuming that they maintain the level of consistency that they've shown, is probably what they're going to do to a lot of their opponents in the regular season.
And of course, they're going to get their biggest test of the remainder of the regular season this coming Friday night, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on when Aniana comes to town. Fluff and company they got a lot to play for this Friday. I mean, they were embarrassed in the semifinals last year, and Aniana is undefeated as well, and look awfully talented. So we'll see. We'll talk about that a little bit later on when we talk about games coming up this week. James, if you'll do me the honors and hand me one of those magazines right over there. They say if you see it on TV, it's true, right?
Do they say that?
I forgot. You're a newspaper. I mean, well, not a you're an online media guy now,
yeah,
right?
And because of all the technical gremlins, I'm trying not to sneeze.
Yeah, please don't. Right here it is. It's here. I've had so many people ask me about this. The printed version of this year's FNN High School Football Kickoff 2023 magazine. It's here. They're being placed out as we speak. Our folks are out running around with cars full of them. I know they're at Easy Street already in Center. They're at Superior Gas in Piedmont. And they will be at Grub Mart in Jacksonville, I know, by tomorrow, and probably in Center by the next hour or so. So if you want one with Jacob Corneo on the cover and all the schedules for all your favorite teams and stuff that we have right here for you, just, be patient. We're going to post locations as we know they're available so we don't send you somewhere where they haven't been delivered yet. We'll also have some at the game of the week this coming Friday night. All right, let's talk about the guest lineup tonight. We've got a really good show straight ahead here from Strutt's Wings, and we'll start with Coach Chris Findley of the Ohatchee Indians, along with this week's Player of the Week, Jesse Baswell. Five touchdowns this past Friday night in the win against Westbrook Christian. We've also got Coach Miles Holcomb here with some of his guys from the Southside Panthers. And Rico Jackson is here with the Anniston Bulldogs. And we'll talk to all of them when we continue right after we pay a couple of bills here on the Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Strutt's Wings in Oxford on FNN.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
Back on the Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show here on FNN, live from Strutt's Wings in Oxford. Pleased to be joined here at the table by the head coach of the Ohatchee Indians, who are currently 3-0.
Yes, sir.
How you like the sound of that, Chris Findley?
Yes, it sounds good. It sounds really good.
And 6-0 in the last 6 regular season games.
Right. Yes. That's
Now, see, only somebody like him would come up with that at this point in time in the interview.
I'll take it.
I am curious, Chris, what's it like for you right now versus this time a year ago?
Last year was a little bit of upheaval, with 8 starters standing on the sideline with us, and you're 0-3, and it's my first full season, the first full go through with that. So it was a struggle for a while there. But we just tried to keep everybody together, last year and say, hey, we still got a shot at this, even through the whole season, saying, hey, we still got a shot at the playoffs if we can get it together and keep it together. This year's obviously a different feeling. Being 3-0 is a whole lot better than being 0-3, even though I still think that there's a lot that we can fix and a lot that we can get better at. It definitely feels a lot better.
And everybody on the team has learned the phrase "nice doggy," right?
Everybody's learned that, right? Keep your distance. Keep your distance.
Well, you probably got your biggest test of the season coming up this Friday night because you got those Rams coming to the Creek Bank, and a running back that's more like a John Deere tractor, I think, than a human being. But talk about Sylvania a little bit and what you guys are going to have to do to be successful.
So that Sylvania's pretty much the same team they were last year as far as player for player. They bring back just about everybody. I think they graduated maybe one senior from a team that went to the semifinals last year, and pretty much the only game they lost was to Piedmont twice. So they're really impressive. They're very aggressive. They're very physical. You look at them and they hardly have a guy over 250 pounds, but every guy they got gets after it and fires off the ball and comes after you every play. And like you mentioned, Parham, the running back, is having a fantastic year so far. He had a great year last year as a 10th grader. He's back this year as a junior. But, and it's not just him. Those guys up front making holes for him and defensive line making it real tough on any offense to run on.
It looks to me like the kind of matchup where both teams' offenses are going to spend some time on the field.
Right.
How big is a turnover here and there going to be in that game?
Oh, it's huge. That's you can't afford to have those in a game that's probably going to be pretty short. You would think between the two of us. That's in those type games, turnovers or any kind of special teams mistake or anything big like that can really come back and bite you. I think back, this is a while back, when I was an assistant at Ohatchee, but I think back to 2018 when we played Fife in the third round, and both teams same way, real physical game, short game, game's over with quick. We give up a kickoff return to start the game, and then we have a fumble right before halftime that they capitalize and score on, and that's pretty much the difference in the game. It ended up being an 8-point game, and those two scores right there made the difference. So in games like that, in games like this where it could be pretty short, we could be out of there by 8:30. It's any little mistake could cost you.
Talk a little bit, Chris, about the advantage you guys are going to have with that home crowd of yours coming up this Friday. Because, of places around here that we go to that are special, you guys are in our top 5 for sure out 100%. At the Creek Bank.
There's not another place like it as far as the support and the fan base and regardless, like I said last year, I said a couple times last year, they didn't quit showing up last year. We struggled last year to start with, but I'm super grateful for that community and the support they give. No matter what's going on, they're a very proud group, proud of our school, of our athletic programs, and especially our football program.
And Steve Taylor is one of the best PA guys in the
100%. 100%.
Obviously the bread and butter is still there for you guys, and he looks like he could run through concrete, not bread and butter. But
right.
But how much is being two-dimensional this year a factor for you guys?
It's huge. It's huge. It's one of those. It's one of those where you want to have your identity, right? And I believe in our identity, and we as a coaching staff, and Coach John Williamson's our office coordinator. We believe in our identity as a tough, physical, running the ball football team. But at some point, you have to marry that to your personnel, right? So we've got Jake Robertson at quarterback who can really throw the ball. We've got Colby Hester that can really go catch it. We've got Jesse Baswell that can really go catch it. But then we've also still got our physical offensive front. We've got Nate Jones who really can run the ball, and not just Nate, obviously Jesse, Colby, Will Folsom comes in, he can run and catch. So it's one of those things that where you have to find that balance between we want to have our identity, and we're going to have our identity. We're going to be that kind of football team, but also we want to use our personnel, to the full extent and make people cover every part of the field.
I'm sure that part of the game plan for Friday has got to be sustained drives that result in something positive. Because,
Correct.
in a game like you guys are going to play Friday with these guys, assuming both defenses hold at some point, it's going to be a game of field position probably as much as it is points.
Right. We need to be able to play our style of ball control and clock control football. That's exactly right. And we did that, I felt, really well for those first 2 weeks. And then the first half of that Westbrook game, I felt like we did that. We had long, sustained drives where we keep the other team's offense off the field. And, I've moved over to the defensive side of the ball now, and you really like those 9-10-minute drives. It's easy when the offense is standing on the other sideline. But, that's something that we've got to get back to. And I felt like we lacked that a little bit in the second half of Westbrook, but that was Westbrook making adjustments on us too, and our defense couldn't get off the field, so they kind of flipped the script on us in the second half the other night. But that's definitely something that we've done really well this year, and that we need to continue to do well.
Jesse walked up here a minute ago, and the first thing I thought was, physically, it almost looks like the same person as Eli Ennis.
Yeah, he does fit. He very similar. Yes,
hair and everything.
Hair and everything. That's exactly right. They could both get hair and NIL deals.
But how physical a runner is he? How hard is it to bring him down?
It's very similar. He's very similar to the way that Eli ran the ball. It's one of those. And he's got some speed to him. That's something that we really worked on for these past couple of years, the size and the speed. And so he can do a few things. He can run around you or he can run over you, So that's something that he's really worked on and it's coming to fruition this year for real.
Talk a little bit, Chris, about who Jesse is outside of that helmet.
Well, I mean, it kind of ties into who he is inside the helmet, and that's very unselfish. We've had to ask him to do so many different things. And as one of our lone seniors, we've only got 3 seniors on this football team, and Jesse's actually the only one that's been through our program the entire time. Will Folsom moved in last year from Donahoe. Chris Nigley, our other senior, just started playing football last year. So Jesse's been the one constant in this group, this grade, through all these years in our program, and so he's really had to take on like a leadership role, an individual leadership role like I don't think we've had to see on a team of ours. He, being the lone senior that's been through all of this with us, he's having to take on a real individual leadership role, but he's also had to take on all these other roles that we're asking him. Like, he has to lead my defense. He has to get the calls from me and know the signals and get everybody where we need to be lined up. And that's just on defense, leading our defense. He's our punter, and he's been our punter for a couple of years. He's a kickoff returner. And then on offense, all the different things we ask him to do. We ask him to play tight end and our base offense and block down and kick out and do all these other things physically. But then we ask him to line up at quarterback, direct snap, run the ball, do this and that. We also ask him to line up at receiver and go catch the ball and all that. So it's just his unselfishness and being able to do all these different things that we ask him and never question at one time. It kind of ties in. I know you said outside, with the helmet off, but that's who he is outside of football also.
Another playmaker, and I see him sitting over there, is Colby Hester.
Right.
And one little statistical anomaly, Jim, he's recovered 2 onside kicks this year. 2 onside kicks this year. One trying to keep the ball and one trying to
get it back.
Prevent the other team from keeping the ball.
See, this is why we have him around. It's not for his pretty face.
Right.
He knows all this neat stuff.
Right.
While we're just sitting here, 1st and 10, let's go.
But what does he bring to you this year, Colby?
See, Colby, he's been super consistent for us. Even last year, he was one that had to come in and play last year. We had a couple guys hurt, and I've said this a couple times about some of those guys. Like, it's not like, we got these guys hurt and these guys had to play for a couple games and then we're out. There's some of these guys that we threw in there that we're like, hey, that's where this kid belongs, and he belongs here, right now. Like, that's his spot, and Colby did that, especially at corner, and then at wing, he really showed promise. We still had Devin Howell, and so when Devin came back, we let those two split some time at the wingback position. But it just his consistency, like he's a guy I know on defense is going to be where he's supposed to be. He's going to do his job. And then on the opposite side of the ball, he's really grown in. Last year, he was really good. He was special at running the ball, and he's very special at running routes and catching the ball. But this year, he's really grown into that block and roll that we need from the wingback too. So he's becoming a really complete player for us.
Great. All right, one final question before we let you get to your wings. Let's talk about the region just a little bit, because this region, since the season kicked off, it's kind of turned into there's going to be 1 or 2 pretty good teams that aren't going to be around come November. Right. I mean, you got Sylvania, you got Geraldine, you guys, Piedmont, Westbrook looks solid. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no gimmies in this bunch.
Right, and then you've got Glencoe and Hoax Bluff and Plainview, who are all very much improved football teams and with solid coaches that have succeeded a lot in their career. So it's definitely one of those. There's going to be 4 solid football teams sitting at home when the playoffs start. There's not a break any week. It's just it's not real fun. I'll tell you that much. Being in this region, this is I know last year we represented we were the lone team that made the playoffs that didn't represent us in the third round, but we represented 3 of the Final Four teams in the North last year, and the 2 final teams being Piedmont and Sylvania in the North last year. So, it's brutal every week for sure.
All right, you got one more. Make it good.
All right, Nate Jones is sitting over there.
Yeah,
Brag on him.
Nate's one that hit again. Last year with injuries, Nate ended up starting at tailback for us. Well, I say started. He didn't start the Wellborn game, but he came into the Wellborn game, a little ways into that, and it was almost immediately. We're like, hey, this is where he needs to be. He solidified his spot pretty much right then, and he's never given it up. And just speaking of the way that I said Colby's consistent, Nate is Mr. Consistent as far as knowing that he's going to do his job every single play, whether it's offense, defense. And again, we ask him to do a couple things on defense, whether it's inside linebacker, outside linebacker, whatever it is. But he's another that he's going to do his job. He's going to give you everything he's got every play. And I can't say enough about all of these guys, how they've developed, in the offseason, how they all came in. We had a rough year last year. Now we're proud of how we finished, right? And we got in the playoffs, and we kept that playoff streak alive and all that. But, they all came in with a fire after that, wanting to flip the script this year and get off to a good start, which now we've done, and the schedule gets – it's been tough, but it gets really tough here, with Sylvania and all that. But we've done so far what we set out to do, and we've got to get better, obviously, and that's something I say every week at the end. But, it's a lot more fun to learn from wins than it is losses. so we've come in every Sunday, but I can't say enough about how those guys, these 3 specifically, how they lead our team and in every facet.
Yeah, and let's not let you go without mentioning just what a great job you've done.
Thank you.
Coming in, taking over under the circumstances you had to take over then with last season. There's a lot of guys that would have lost their teams over this kind of stuff.
I appreciate it. I've got a great coaching staff. We've had a lot of turnover this year, and we've got 5 new guys in this year from our coaching staff. There's only about 3 of us from these previous years that have been there, 4 from last year. But, I can't say enough about how all those guys have come in and fit in and done such a great job and in their roles, and then together as a unit. It's really gelled really well, and things have gone well.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Good luck Friday night.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll grab a quick break. Coach Chris Findley of the Ohatchee Indians. They've got Sylvania for probable control of the region this Friday night at the Creek Bank. And we'll talk to his star player from this past Friday. He's our FNN Realty Pros Player of the Week, Jesse Baswell. 5 touchdowns last Friday. We'll talk to him and make the award presentation right after the break here on FNN.
Advantage Tire and Alignment on Highway 202 in Anniston is so much more than just a new tire and rim shop. There's not enough time in this ad to tell you all the many things they can do to help keep your car in tip-top shape. Advantage Tire uses ASE certified technicians, so any work done is top-notch. Bottom line, if it needs repaired or replaced, they can probably do the job and save you money. And when it comes time for new or used tires and rims, Advantage Tire and Alignment prices just can't be beat. Stop in and see Bruce and the crew today. Advantage Tire and Alignment.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
What do you expect when you bring a girl on the show? We got to talk about hair.
Well, but all I was saying is Jesse's got this flow going, so you had a hard time getting the headset. Hey, I get it, man. My son's got the flow too. So
Yes, ma'am.
Michelle Green here from Realty Pros joining us to make the presentation for Player of the Week. And, of course, on my left, the guy that did it 5 times this past Friday night. Once through the air and 4 times on his feet galloping to the end zone to pull out a pretty neat win over the Westbrook Christian Warriors.
Yes, sir.
How was the game?
It was very good.
Huh?
It was good.
It was very good, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Did you feel like you were in a zone?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir, I did.
I mean, can you tell the difference when it's just another game or everything you're going to do works right?
It does. You can tell a big difference.
Yeah. Tell me how you know.
You just get that feeling.
Yeah.
It's everything's going your way the whole game.
Does it slow down? I mean, does like the holes and where you need to cut and all that, does it slow down mentally and visually for you, or is it just instinct?
Everything, it just looks more vivid almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you said, a zone. You're just in it.
When did you know that you were at what point in the game did you know you were going to have that kind of night? Did you ever think about it?
We come out after halftime and somebody said something about it, and I was like, we just got to do what we got to do to win.
Hey, you know all about that. Just got to do what you got to do to win, right?
You got to hustle. You got to hustle, man.
Yes, ma'am.
As big as that game was, the game this Friday is even bigger.
Yes, sir.
Because it's probably for control of the region with the Rams coming to the Creek Bank. Tell me what you know about them and what you think you guys have had to do to prepare to be ready for them this Friday.
I mean, it's going to be a tough game, just like every week, but we've prepared. We know what we got to do.
You guys have had such a great start to the season. I mean, especially compared to last year. We know a lot of guys were hurt and couldn't play, and that's what got you off to the rough start. But you bounced back to make the playoffs. Of course, you guys got the belt. How about that?
Yes,
it's still in the trophy case, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And now you're 3-0, and got a chance to really put a stamp on a possibility of either winning the region or at least hosting in the first round if you can pick up this W over Sylvania Friday night. What do you know about them, and what kind of game do you expect?
It's going to be it'll be a physical game. Like Coach Findley's been saying all week, they're going to be physical, and they're not going to go away.
4 quarters.
4 quarters. You got to play it.
All right. Well, tell us who you brought with you. Which your teammates did you bring for dinner tonight?
I have Colby Hester and Nate Jones.
And tell me what they do on the team.
Colby is a corner, and he's our wing back, and Nate is our running back, and he plays a little outside linebacker and inside linebacker.
So you kind of share the ball with those guys then, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. What flavor tonight?
Honey barbecue.
Honey barbecue?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let Michelle do the presentation here. Come on in here, Miss Realty Lady.
So Michelle went honey barbecue too, but I'm gonna be honest.
I didn't ask you.
Well, I mean, you didn't. I just, I'm a woman. I'm always
You're
going to
volunteer,
opinion,
so.
Yeah. I went half honey barbecue and half lemon pepper, and the lemon pepper was amazing. So hopefully we'll see you again.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll go lemon pepper day.
We'll go lemon pepper.
He hopes we'll see him again too. Of course, you have won this week 2's Player of the Week, and Michelle has the Crystal Trophy here for you to present it over to Jesse Baswell of the Ohatchee Indians. Do your thing, dear.
Dude, I am so impressed. If I had
five times.
If I had 5 closings in a week, I think I'd have an island somewhere. So I'm super impressed, and this is amazing. And you're a senior this year, right?
Yes,
so this is awesome. So maybe when you get in college, I'll have enough money. I'll be giving one of these, in college. So anyway, congratulations.
Thank you.
So
there you go, Jess. And here's the box so you don't break it. I'm sure your mom will help you find the right place to put that.
Yes, sir, she will.
All right. Well, listen, congratulations on a great game, and, do good Friday night.
Yes, sir,
big with Sylvania.
That's right.
All right. We're going to grab a quick break, and when we come back, we'll move on to our next guest, the Southside Gadsden Crimson Panthers are here, and we'll talk with Coach Miles Holcomb straight ahead here on the Friday Night Network.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
Griffin Laser Engraving in Lincoln is your authorized local dealer for personalized Yeti products. Get your Yeti customized for your team, a business, or a special event. Your color, graphics, even photos. At Griffin Laser Engraving, we make it the way you want it. Order just one or hundreds, and you'll find a full line of Yeti coolers and accessories on hand, even the hard-to-find items. Nationally recognized, but right here at home in Lincoln for quality awards, trophies, powder coating, and personalized Yeti items, Griffin Laser Engraving.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
Back on the Tuesday night coaches show here live at Struts Wings in Oxford. Jim Jacobs, Joe Medley, and to my left, Coach Miles Holcomb of the Southside Panthers joining us here at the table, taking a peek right here. Let me grab that, Coach. They're here. Yes, I've had people calling me all day today. The printed version of this year's high school kickoff magazine is here. Coach was looking at it earlier, and your team is one of the ones that was featured in it this year.
Yes, sir. First off, let's just happy birthday, belated birthday. Yesterday was your birthday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday was your birthday.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to you.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. That's nice of you to say that. You sent me a text. No, you sent me. You posted on Facebook.
Message on Facebook. Yeah.
And I got to tell you, your avatar don't look nothing like you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, let's talk about your season so far. Didn't win the first one.
Yep.
But come back and won 2 in a row. You got Hoax Bluff on Thursday night and got the shock of a lifetime.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, it was a bittersweet night for us. I mean, obviously, you love playing against a county rival on a Thursday night. There was a ton of people there. Our fans always show up. They're always there. I think G set the school record with the first play of the game passing for the school. And then, obviously in the third quarter, it was a –
How fluke was it?
So
was he trying to slide?
No. It was actually – we actually had we had a little quick game call on the side. We were like Trey. We had like a snuggie set, like a top bunch set to the field. And we had talked under the tent, like if we got a specific look, he could check out of it. We could go cue draw. And so we had it called. You look, we're looking. He's checking. And it's like, man, what a great. Like me and Coach T just like got out of our mouths. Like, what a great check at the line. It's wide open. We hit it. And just had an 85-yard run the drive before. And as soon as he sticks his foot, he's probably about to go bounce another one and score again. And just kind of happened,
Mm.
Those of us who watched the NFL last night saw a team go through that shock.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and then they found a way to win. And you guys have obviously found ways to win since then. They talk about the recovery process your team has been through, getting through that and moving on to what they have to be the rest of the season.
Well, the crazy thing for us is, we hadn't had McCade yet. McCade's been, kind of battling some back stuff, and he's a kid that we feel like could be, a Power 5 guy, and so he hadn't had a chance to play yet. Obviously, we lose Gage against Oaks Bluff. We lost our big left guard. Pierce is, 6'5", almost 6'6", 265 pounds. We lose him after the Gunnersville game in a crazy. We're doing good on good 2-minute, on Tuesday, the Oaks Bluff week, and he just kind of gets rolled up, and we end up losing him. We lose Jordan Wood the other night, just on the goal line right there, and it's just every guy that's been the one that stepped in has came in and done their job, which is, that's something that I'm proud of. Obviously, it's a testament to our kids, them being prepared and making sure that they're paying attention in meetings, they're paying attention in any time we go through walkthrough, and like I told them after the game against Lincoln the other night, it's about like the standard of the program, and they do a good job, so it don't really matter who's the next guy in. Like, they know what the standard is, and they just have to play to that standard.
I know you told me when we sat down earlier back during the summer that depth was something that you guys were really working on. And I guess at this point you're probably saying, thank God we did.
Yes, sir. One thing this year that we wanted to get to, obviously our numbers were a lot better. I think we had been at, the year one we were like 51, and then last year we were like 54, and like now we're sitting at like 88 kids on the roster this year, which is obviously has helped us some. Being able to have guys, and one thing we wanted to have was not just have to come in and be like, well, you're a substitute, but we wanted guys that come in and be like a supplement to what we were doing, and not always just, well, we got to completely change everything. And now, Gage going down, our game plan from when he was a sophomore until nobody wants that to happen, and so we have had to change some stuff. I thought Jordan did an incredible job. I talked to them guys today, just making sure I don't want them to check out. Our receivers to check out. Our quarterback, the Jordan Bryan now, to have to check out because he's a receiver. He wants to play receiver to the next level. And one of the stressors that as a coach I think we go through is, especially with our receiver core we had coming back, most of those guys have been there for 3 years. They've been starters for 3 years. And they have aspirations to go play at the next level. So they're thinking, hey, we got our quarterback coming back. We go through all these 7-on-7s. We go and when we play all these teams from all over the place and everything, and we feel good about our throw game. And then, something like this happens. And, of course, I'm sure the human nature kicks in, and they're thinking like, well, what's my tape going to look like now? Am I going to get an opportunity to go play at the next level? Like, am I going to have the stats, to have the chance to go play? Is my tape going to be good enough, And it's our job, and like as a coach, and as somebody who's designs what we're doing offensively, to be able to find ways to get them involved, as much as possible, because Mason's had an incredible start to the season.
Sure
but,
has.
29 carries, 19 carries, 23 carries. Like, I'm not so sure how sustainable that is for the long haul if we want to play as long as we say we want to play, and so. We have to do a good job of making sure that we get everybody else involved so we can take a little bit of the load off him. He's sitting here right now at 71 carries, like 632 yards on 71 carries in 3 games. That's a lot of carries. It's a lot of yards, a lot of carries. He's looking at like right at 9 yards a carry, but we also got to make sure that he stays healthy, and we don't put too much of a burden and a load on him where he's not healthy now.
What does he bring to the table that's helped him carry this load?
Well, I think his work ethic. He's a guy that, anytime we'd come in the summer, obviously we'd do stuff in the morning. And one thing that I'm like I felt like we did a really good job of this summer is we got what we needed to get in. It was football, baseball, basketball, wrestling, and we all lifted and ran together. At our place, and we'd go in the morning. We did our football stuff from 6 to 7. At 7 o'clock, guys came in and we all lifted and ran together. Like all of our programs lifted and ran together, and then we let them go to do what other sport they needed to do, or if they wanted to go work a job or whatever the case was. But he's a guy that you'd leave and I may go run or I may go to the gym and do something, and like he's in there. He's one of our guys that's kind of in there, you know. And I think he just works on his body. You know, he works on his body constantly. Does a good job of that, you know. And so his off-season work, his work ethic kind of speaks for itself. Now, he takes care of himself. He stretches. He has routines that he goes through. He comes in and gets treatment on Sundays, you know. And so I think he understands, you know, how pivotal his role is, especially now. Like it has been anyway, but especially now. And so he does a good job taking care of his body, making sure that he's ready to go.
I'm curious, what has Gage's role become?
Gage is like another coach. Like he told me, you know, I went over there the Saturday before and right after it happened, and we're sitting there and we're sitting around talking or whatever, and me, him, and then, you know, obviously Coach Scoop, we're sitting there and we're talking, and he's like, well, we got a quarterback coach now. You know, and I was like, bro, I don't need a quarterback. We don't, like, I'd rather you still be playing quarterback, you know. But it was a neat deal. You know, obviously we had Labor Day the following week. I guess it was Labor Day. I guess that's what it was. And we're off, so we go in the morning. And the guy who's filming, Coach Smith's kind of filming, and like he just kind of pans over an inside run. And we bring our quarterbacks down to inside run, and that's something I always mess with him about is he's probably like, God, Coach, like, why don't you just let me go throw one-on-one? That's what we're doing, inside run. But, like, that was one thing, like, to get him involved in the run game, we don't even understand the box a little bit. So we'd make him come to inside run and everything. Right. And it was just a neat thing to see because as we panned, it was accidental. It was an accidental picture. But, like, we panned the camera over, and you see, like, Gage has got his arm around Jordy B., and he's got, like, his headset on because he's kind of calling out the play so our Coach Cargill and Coach T can signal it to the offense. And so I'm kind of standing back there helping Jordy, and I was like, hey, G, just call the play right here, like, on the headset, and, like, they'll signal it so we can get in the flow of, like, how we're signaling stuff. And he panned over, and, like, he's got his headset on. He's got his arm around Jordy B. He's got his script in his hand, and he's, like, pointing and, like, showing, like, why we're calling this run and, like, why our fullbacks and tight ends are making this call at the line of scrimmage. And it was a cool picture. It was a kind of testament to his character. Kind of shows who he is. Like, he wasn't checked out. Like, other night in the game, he's, you know, talking to Jordy on the sideline, and as we add more things in the throw game for Jordy, he's kind of trying to help him through that, understand the progressions of what we're trying to do. And so, you know, he stays active. He knows he's going to play more football. You know, I think I'd give up a couple fingers, you know, if he could play more football this year. But he's got some more. He's got, you know, definitely a ton of football left. But he's a great person, and that's kind of came to light more in the last week and a half than I think a lot of people realized.
Well, he is just an incredible young man. I mean, I got to see that up close when we visited back in the summer for the magazine article, and it's just one of life's great injustices as to what's happened to him. But I know he'll be okay. He's that kind of guy.
Absolutely. You know, he's going to have opportunities to play. I mean, he's got opportunities to go somewhere. And then I think he's going to end up having more opportunities to go places, and it's going to be up to him, you know, what he decides to do and where he, you know, eventually decides to sign and go play. But whoever gets him is going to get an incredible football player that's probably going to be, I would say, hungrier than probably he's ever been before. Because when something gets taken away from you like this, like, I think he knew he loved the game. I think he knew he loved playing quarterback. But then when you don't have that opportunity, you realize how much you love it. And I think that's kind of what he's seeing right now.
Well, let's talk about this matchup this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Coach Clements and them are a tough bunch. You know, I think they've shocked a lot of people. The Etowah game early in the season, big win for them, obviously. And then I think more than anything else, like this Mortimer Jordan team that they played week 2, that team's good. They're a really
look
good
pretty solid,
team.
don't they?
Yeah, they're a good football team. And you know, Springville gave them all they wanted, and then everybody kind of knew that Leeds bunch that was coming back into the region, won the region last year. We knew they were going to be tough. Their box is really good, and so they gave them all they wanted. So we'll definitely have our hands full. You know, I think Coach Clements does an incredible job with that team. The transition that they made, you know, going offensively, the big transition going from, you know, kind of what they were doing, a little pro style, a little bit of a tempo spread to kind of now in that double slot look. I think that's been, you know, incredibly beneficial for them. Those kids look like they believe in it. They bought into it. They play so hard right now. Defense has always been tough. You know, they gave us fits last year when we played, and 2 years ago they gave us fits also. So I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it'll be physical. I think it'll be a really physical game. The game may be over at 9:45. You know, so.
You told me back when we had our visit that Springville is just one of those teams, for whatever reason, you guys just have issues with.
Absolutely.
What did you tell me? There was it last year or year before? You guys couldn't decide who wanted to stop fumbling the ball.
We couldn't. Neither one of us wanted to keep it. We kept turning it over in the first half. You know, and neither one of us wanted the ball more. Like we kept wanting to turn it over. And then we kind of finally we settled down a little bit in the second half and ended up playing well in the second half last year. And then 2 years ago, like, God, they were so good. They were big. They were physical. The quarterback was athletic. The running back were athletic. And then, you know, they do a ton of stuff defensively that kind of gives you problems. You don't really know what you're going to get every single play. Like, you know the basic structure, but you got to do a lot of, like, no-play checks. And that's what we ended up having to do last year. And hopefully this year we've kind of – I mean, obviously we've had to simplify a little bit, but our guys have done a great job of making sure that we understood the plan going into the week. And I'll be honest with you, like today, and I told our guys before we left, today's probably the most passionate and intense practice we've had since I've been here. And it was from start to finish was one of the best Tuesday practices that we've ever had since I've been here, and that's fun to see. We're playing with a little bit different edge right now because I think the guys that they know they have to, that, you know, and a little bit of the safety blanket's kind of gone. You know, Gage can kind of make some things happen. Well, if it's not here, I'll just make it happen with my legs, you know. And so some of that's gone. So the guys up front on both sides of the ball, but the offensive line is kind of taking on that persona, and they're playing with an edge, and they're physical, and that's what we had to do the other night against a pretty talented Lincoln bunch too. You know, I think we threw the ball 6 times and ended up with 260-something yards rushing. In the last drive, I don't think we attempted a pass the last drive. And when we had to have it, and there's 9 in the box, and, you know, Teague rushes for 181 with 9 people in the box. Pretty impressive.
How do you see things shaping out right now in Region 6?
Well, it's tough. I mean, it's a tough region, obviously. You know, Moody's good, Leeds is good. I feel like we have a really good football team. You know, I think it's to be determined kind of what happens with us injury-wise and how guys step up and who can kind of fill in and make enough plays. You know, Springville's got a talented team. I think that Lincoln team is incredibly talented also. I think Coach Zedeker's done a great job. You know, the St. Clair team, you know, they came out and looked incredible week 0. You know, and I hadn't seen the corner bunch place, but so I got to assume that they're a pretty talented bunch, you know, after kind of what I saw with them. But I think it's wide open right now. I mean, obviously, I think Leeds and Moody, based off what they did last year and what they've been able to accomplish so far early in this season, are the class of the bunch. You know, Alexandria is going to be Alexandria. And people can say, well, they're struggling right now and they're doing this. And what I know about them is that they're going to figure it out.
Eventually.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Eventually. Well, Coach, tell us who you brought with you tonight.
Tonight I got Gage and Mason Teague.
Okay.
They're here. And so those 2 guys have been huge for us, you know, from last year to this year. They kind of help us go, you know, offensively. And so they're here. They're here tonight. It's a privilege for them to be here. I mean, obviously we want to give them as much exposure as we can because – without them, none of us have jobs anyway. So.
Thanks for driving over.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Coach Miles Holcomb, the Southside Panthers, they've got a big one with Springville this Friday night for region standing. And, of course, the season's changed a ton since Gage Naismith went down week 1 with the injury against Hoax Bluff. We'll talk to him and Mason Teague. James will step in and handle that privilege when we continue with our high school football Tuesday night coaches show here on FNN.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
Advantage Tire and Alignment on Highway 202 in Anniston is so much more than just a new tire and rim shop. There's not enough time in this ad to tell you all the many things they can do to help keep your car in tip-top shape. Advantage Tire uses ASE certified technicians, so you know any work done is top-notch. Bottom line, if it needs repaired or replaced, they can probably do the job and save you money. And when it comes time for new or used tires and rims, Advantage Tire and Alignment prices just can't be beat. Stop in and see Bruce and the crew today. Advantage Tire and Alignment.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
The FNN Coaches Show continues from Struts Wings in Oxford. James Hardy with you as we continue on with a couple of Southside stars on the gridiron. To my left, quarterback Gage Neesmith, and to my right, running back Mason Teague. First off, thanks for joining us, both of y'all.
Yes, sir.
And first, I want to start with you, Gage. Obviously, elephant in the room as far as your injury from a couple of weeks ago. Just kind of tell us how you're doing.
I'm doing all right. I got a surgery next week, and we're gonna get back right. God has His plan, so I'm just gonna follow it and see where it leads.
And just kind of describe what happened as far as what led to your injury.
Okay, so we come out second half after the 85-yard touchdown. The second drive, we had a pass play called, and so we had numbers in the box and to run the ball, so I check it to the Q draw, and I cut off the outside linebacker. And when I did, my knee gave, and I knew right then that there's something wrong.
And then I want to follow up with you, Mason, as far as when that happened. What was just kind of the reaction as far as you and your teammates when that went down?
Everybody hated to see him go down because that's a huge leader on our team, and he's a great player. And so, when he went down, we knew us other leaders just had to step up and keep everybody like up and going, and just keep pushing everybody to push through and, just find a way to get the win.
And following up on that as well, how much pressure has it been as far as for you having to step up your game?
With all that, I'm definitely going to have to get some more totes on Friday nights, and during practice and stuff, had to become a big leader because Gage is still a leader, not being out there with us, but on the field wise, I'm having to do a little bit more and control him more, I guess you could say.
And then, Mason, I remember about this time last year, we went up to Southside when y'all opened up region play in the 2022 season against Lincoln. You kind of had a breakout performance against them. Just kind of describe how your game has evolved from last year up to this point.
I've been putting in that work all off season, and the line has gotten a lot better this year. And so, we've prepared all off season. And with the line being so good, that helps me out a lot. Makes my job a lot easier.
And then, Gage, obviously your season's been cut short, but just kind of describe as far as the teammates, especially on your side of the ball, that you had as far as the receivers, really the entire offense in total?
Oh yeah, they were great. We had all the receivers were returning except for Cody Roberts. I mean, he was a big one, but everybody knows the offense. We had a grip of everything, and it was unfortunate for me to go down. And the offensive line is incredible this year. They're dominant. They're going to be the most probably dominant offensive line in the region. So having that kind of offensive line is made my job a lot easier too, as well as Teague. So passing the ball, I had a lot more time in the pocket and stuff, and we were on our way to be dominant, and then we still can be, but it just sucks me not being able to be out there.
And Mason, as far as what type of adjustments have y'all had to make as far as without having Gage out on the field?
Really just like having to have more of a run game, because we're having a new quarterback back there, and until he gets comfortable, then
So how was this past week? A solid victory, road victory to open up region play at Lincoln. Just kind of what was the mood of the team is coming off of the victory last Friday night?
Really just like trusting him back there at quarterbacks. He's a smart guy. He knows the whole offense, and we knew he could get the job done. And I just knew that going into the week, I'd probably had to be getting a lot more totes than I normally would because he's not so comfortable back there. And until he gets comfortable, then, I guess that's going to be the game plan,
You'll still have a lot of big games, still Leeds, still Alexandria, still Moody left, especially on the back end of your schedule. But obviously, every one of those games, especially in region play, when y'all step out on the field, it's a big game. What do you see as far as the potential? How far can y'all go as far as this year?
I think we can go all the way still with what we have. We have some great players, and we're just going to have to find the way to get the ball to all the athletes.
And then, Gage, is this the best team that you've been on? I know you, at least coming in, including this year, a 3-year starter. Just kind of describe how much talented this team is and the potential that they still have over the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, we have a great all-around team. We had a lot of guys kind of transfer in and stuff. Teague being one of them, but that was last year. But him developing and coming into this year, the stats prove it, man. He's a heck of a running back, and we have a heck of an offensive line. It's probably the best offensive line Southside's had in a very long time. And the defense, they speak for themselves every year. So the offense, we're starting to come together and stuff, and they're still going to do good. And I think we still have a chance of making a very deep run and being very successful.
And then before your injury, I remember first seeing you a couple of years ago during one of our games of the week. You showed a lot of raw potential, especially with a good, strong arm. Just going to describe, as far as leading up to this season, just how your quarterbacking journey with Southside has evolved.
Right. From sophomore to senior year, it's been a journey, but I think I've developed in ways that will help me in the next level, because I still have a chance to go play at the next level, even though my injury is what it is. But I'm gonna get better, and we're gonna get right back on track. But Coach Holcomb has helped me more than anybody on as far as being a quarterback and stuff, like reading defense and stuff like that for the next level. And it's been a ride, man. It's been fun, and I love every one of my teammates and stuff. And that's all I really got for it.
Describe Mason as a teammate.
Oh, I love him, man. It's been fun having him back there. He's a great pass pro and stuff. So, he picks up the blitz so I don't get shit out in the face.
Talk about Gage as a teammate, Mason.
He's a great leader, and I love playing with him. Being back there in the backfield with him, there's nothing like it.
We got a lot more at the FNN Coaches Show to go. I wish we had a little more time with y'all. A big thanks for both of you for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll have more of the FNN Coaches Show, still the Anniston Bulldogs coming up, and we'll take the time out after this from Strutt's Wings in Oxford.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNN Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnn.bank. Member FDIC.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
We are back at Struts of Oxford for the Tuesday night high school football coaches show here on FNN, the Friday Night Network. Jim Jacobs, Joe Medley returning to the table along with the head football coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Coach Rico Jackson. Glad you could, well, you've been here. We just hadn't got you on.
Right. Glad to be back.
Yeah, but we're glad to have you finally because, you know, you're a newcomer to the area.
I am.
How's the barbershop treating you so far?
well, actually, I'm going Thursday, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, see, now here you go, Coach. You just told a few thousand people where you'd be Thursday. I don't know that was very smart, but okay.
I didn't tell them what barbershop.
That's right. All right, let's talk about the season so far. Boy, it's been kind of, you know.
Right.
I'm going to get Andalusia out of the way. Let's talk about Andalusia. What'd you learn?
I learned that we can play with Andalusia. I felt like the first half, it was 7-0, and we didn't capitalize on things that we needed to capitalize on. We dropped 2 picks. Both I thought could be pick sixes. And they kicked. They had a punt, and they kicked like the back of their guy, and we were running to the end zone with the ball, and we dropped it. So that's 21 points. And when you play against good teams, you can't leave points on the field. So,
I kind of sense from that game through the Munford game that maybe you guys have kind of found yourselves, that have kind of found what you need to be, especially running the ball. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can say that. The first half was a really good game with Andalusia. I think that our kids are starting to understand that this is a different team. We're not the same team from last year. Mm-hmm. So they were almost like in shock that it was a good football game. We're going into halftime. Now I'm telling them we're in the game, and they kind of had a look like why we're not winning by 20. But it's a different team. It's a different air. It's going to be a different team when you lose 20, 25 kids and a couple of them leave. So it's not rebuilding. We have a really good football team. I think now we're starting to find our identity. Our quarterback's getting settled. Our running backs are getting settled. We're getting healthy. We made some changes up front. The Andalusia game was actually good. A loss is never good, but it was good. So we made a ton of corrections, and we moved people around, and we're moving forward.
You, of course, picked up a nice win at home over Munford this past week, a team most people probably thought you would beat. But things get a little more interesting this Friday. Let's talk about Jacksonville a little bit. What have you learned about the Golden Eagles watching them the last few weeks?
I'm going to get on Jacksonville. Actually, I think Munford has a good team. I thought we played well. Really good offensive line, good running back, very good running back, one of the best backs in our region. Jacksonville, obviously you got to stop the quarterback. He got a rocket launcher on his right arm. Number 7 is unbelievable. I think he's undervalued in the area and in the state. The Fisher kid, obviously I watched the Hanley game. He's really good. They have another receiver that's really good, number 12. He's a good complement to 7. Yes.
Sinclair.
He's really good. So defensively, they're really scrappy. They fly around to the ball. They have a linebacker number 58. He has like a mullet, I think. It's hanging out his helmet. I mean, he runs to the football. They run to the football. They fly around. So it's definitely going to be a challenge.
Gavin, it seemed like he was the guy that really stood out in the Munford game, and maybe more than he had previously. How has he hit his stride?
Just growth, man. I mean, we were all new. The Welborn game was almost like a jamboree for all of us. Everybody coming in trying to mesh. We're trying to figure out each other, trying to basically make sure we got kids in the right spot. So I know that he's growing into his own. He's getting more comfortable with us, and he's getting more comfortable with his teammates, and now we're just playing football, and that's the biggest thing. We got a lot of stuff to clean up, though. I was happy with the win. I feel like we got a lot of things that we need to work on, which we've been doing this week.
You brought up a good point, Coach, and I want to ask you about. The Welborn game obviously was the first sideline appearance for you as the head coach of the team. What was that first few minutes like? I mean, do you everything's different. And I mean, obviously you've done this a long time, so right. Coaching is not that big a deal to you. But stepping out on that field with a team like Anniston and just a great stadium like Lot Mosby, and I'm sure the crowd was good for the opening game. And what did you have butterflies, or what was it like?
No, I never really have butterflies. I express this statement to the kids. I never really feel pressure because we know what we're doing. You don't feel the pressure when you know what you're doing. So it was, I guess you just kind of get locked in on what you're trying to accomplish and what you want the kids to accomplish. And you're in a coaching mode. So you're really not focused on the external stuff. You're focused on your kids and trying to put them in the best position to be successful. So.
Obviously, Jay Money was big in that game, the Wilbur game. And Gavin obviously starting to find his groove. Talk about some of the other playmakers that are starting to come online for you.
Jane Dobbins had an awesome game against Mumford. Now we're starting to get him in the mix. The running game picked up. The Welborn game, Caleb Wynn did not play. He was hurt. He really didn't play Andalusia either. So he had about 6 carries for probably about 80 yards against Mumford. I mean, he's starting to come along, number 0. Quinn Sykes, running back, 26. He had a really good game. The offensive line is starting to gel. Defensively, we're flying to the football. Dekias Baker had a huge game against Mumford. We had one of our young safeties kind of got a bruise on his hip, and he came in the corner, and we didn't miss a beat. So the kids are just starting to step up. I'm really proud of the team, and I feel like that's what we have, a team.
That leads me to my next question. How much do you have to throttle Jay Money? Because he strikes me as the kind of guy with the confidence he has in how he plays that he wants to take every situation on his shoulders and perform.
Right.
How much do you have to pull him off to the side sometimes and put your arm around him and say, hey, we're a team?
Oh, not much. I mean, it's crazy. Like him and Jaden and some of our, I guess you say, guys that are getting highly recruited, they work their tails off at practice. They work their tails off in the game, and their demeanor is they want to win, but it's more about – it's not about I need every ball or I want the ball. It's more about film study. How can I be better? How can my teammates be better? It's a special trait that a lot of kids usually don't have. When you talk coach speak, usually your best athletes are, I don't know if I can say this on air, your turds, I guess you say. But these kids are not that, which is very different.
Yeah.
Like they're the kids that others strive to be, which is special. I mean,
there's no doubt he's special.
Yeah. So the athletic ability, of course, but it's the other facets of him that makes him special. Not just him, Gavin and Jaden and all the guys that are getting highly recruited. TK, they're cut a little different.
Talk about the young man you brought with you tonight.
So I brought James Brown with me. James Brown, one of my coaches called him the hardest working man in show business. So you know what I mean? So James was a starter last year. He's a senior. Played H-back. He was number 33. We were having some O-line, not necessarily O-line difficulties, but we needed to move some people around, and we put James Brown up front last game and had one of our the best games O-line, had one of the best games that we played so far. All he asked was Coach, can I get 58? We didn't have 58, so he got 66. So and he didn't argue at all. He's one of those kids. I don't think he's ever missed a workout. I don't think he haven't missed a summer workout. There every day, yes or no, sir. I mean, he comes with a hard head. He's a hard head type kid.
One more, you got it.
Just the region. How do you see things developing in Region 4 right now?
Man, our region is unbelievable. I feel like so our region is unbelievable. Our schedule is unbelievable too, because we got Anniston.
But Coach, don't you feel like it goes through Handley at this point?
No, I feel like it goes through us. I mean,
I like that.
That's how I feel. I mean, that's not me bragging. That's just what we feel like.
Gotcha.
So, Handley has a good team, a very good team. Watched the Jacksonville game. Of course, Jacksonville has a good team. I think that score is not indicative of how the game was, just like our score in Andalusia wasn't indicative of how the game was. So, at the end of the day, everybody has to line up and go play. So, whether it's your Montforts or Handley or White, it's the next game. And
You've always preached that every time we've talked. Next game.
That's my thing. I mean, I don't even look at how it's falling around. The Montfort game was huge for us because it was a step toward the playoffs, and that's all I can say right now.
Well, Jacksonville's next up. So let me ask you in closing this question. If we sat down Saturday morning and Anniston has won that football game, what would you tell me you guys had to do to be successful?
Had to stop 7. Quarterback on the receiver, had to stop the quarterback, play well on defense, no mistakes. Offensively, take what we did last week and multiply and clean things up, be physical in the run game, be able to throw the ball a little bit, no turnovers, clean the special teams. So it's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And we've been working toward that this week.
All right, Coach, thanks for joining us.
No doubt, anytime.
All right, Coach Rico Jackson joins us. We're going to get James Brown in here coming up straight ahead on the Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show. Stay with us.
Advantage Tire and Alignment on Highway 202 in Anniston is so much more than just a new tire and rim shop. There's not enough time in this ad to tell you all the many things they can do to help keep your car in tip-top shape. Advantage Tire uses ASE certified technicians, so you know any work done is top-notch. Bottom line, if it needs repaired or replaced, they can probably do the job and save you money. And when it comes time for new or used tires and rims, Advantage Tire and Alignment prices just can't be beat. Stop in and see Bruce and the crew today. Advantage Tire and Alignment.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of Fred Wilson, Danny Shears, Carolyn Henderson, Terry Howell, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. Our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums. Our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly support the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at Calhoun County. You'll be glad you did.
Family owned and operated for over 50 years, Miller Funeral Home is committed to providing families with the finest services for their loved ones, including our newest service, Aquamation. Aquamation is a gentle, respectful, and eco-friendly alternative to flame cremation. Miller Funeral Home is the only facility in the state of Alabama that offers the Aquamation service. Call us or visit our website today to learn more about how we can serve you and your loved ones.
Headed toward the finish line here on this edition of the FNN Coaches Show from Struts Wings in Oxford. James Hardy with you, Joe Medley off to my right, and then another James with us to lead us toward that finish line this evening. A big game for Jacksonville, or for Anniston, coming up, as they will make that short trip up to Jacksonville on Friday, which will be making that short trip up Highway 21 as well for our FNN Game of the Week. And first off, James Brown, thanks for joining us and looking forward to suiting it up for a big game Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Just kind of describe for us how you think, just for you individually, your season's gone so far.
It went pretty well.
So I know we were talking about with Coach Jackson before y'all came up to our table here, but I know you've made a position change here recently. Just kind of take us on that journey.
It wasn't that hard for real. Like, usually I practice with the offensive line, so moving to the offensive line wasn't that much of a bad transition.
And you went from an H-back to the offensive line.
Yes, sir.
So how was your first game along the offensive line this past Friday?
I missed a couple of blocks, but I did pretty good.
Very nice.
Coach Jackson was telling us a story that initially you wanted number 58.
Yes,
What is there a story behind that number? And then what was when you got number 66? Kind of what was your reaction?
Like, I wanted to pick 58 because basically that was the only number I could think of that nobody wore on the offensive line. So I didn't know what else to pick. But when he gave me 66, I really wasn't too much bothered about it. So.
And then just, he also told the story that about halftime of the Andalusia game. They walked in the locker room and everybody kind of had that look on their face, like eyes had been opened. Take me back to that moment and kind of what you felt.
Like, I felt like we could have still won, but at the same time, everybody needs to keep their head high. But, you feel me? Couldn't really feel like it felt like everybody gave up for real a little bit.
So, James, just kind of speaking of that Andalusia game, just kind of describe in general the lessons y'all learned from that game.
The lessons we learned: don't give up on any play, and basically, we got to work harder on everything we do.
And how important, especially with it being a region game and coming off of that loss to Andalusia, was it to be able to come up and get a solid victory to begin region play last week?
What we had to do to get that win, we had to practice hard and just everybody do their assignment.
Just how much of a process was it to learn that this team was not last year's team and kind of for this team to find its own identity?
I know we had a couple of people that was like big time players. So coming in, we had to rebuild the offensive line and stuff. But I felt like our team was still gonna be good. Like, we really did lose too many people though. So I don't have too much thoughts about that.
And Coach Jackson, how's he different from what you knew before, and how's everybody kind of taking to him?
Coach Jackson, he makes sure he's real big on discipline. So if we get in trouble, we gotta be held accountable.
I know last year y'all had a special team, a lot of Division I players on your roster from 2022. How's the chemistry as far as this year's team?
The chemistry is still the same. Like, everybody is like the same defense and all, but the offense, we just got to get better at knowing our assignments. Like, the offensive line, we got to get better at blocking. Everybody got to do their job.
Well, what do you think about this week's game with Jacksonville?
I feel like it's going to be a good game. We just got to come out ready and keep our heads up and hope for the best.
Is that the type of message, at least that y'all have gotten from Coach Jackson so far this week?
Yes, sir.
And how have the practices been this week?
Practice been great, for real. You just got to keep on practicing the same every day.
What's the hope for you guys this year? What's the goal? Is everything still there for you guys?
Mm-hmm. The goal is to win the Blue Map, of course, and for the next year team, they gotta show out.
Very good. James, thanks for joining us, and good luck on Friday night.
Yes, sir.
We will be making that trip up Highway 21 on Friday. As always, our countdown to kickoff begins at 6:30 with kickoff at 7 o'clock as the FNN folks, including yours truly, Jim Jacobs, and the rest of our FNN crew will be up at Jacksonville High School this week for Anniston and Jacksonville. Rematch of one of the closest games, one of the best games we had last season just up the street at Lot Mosby Memorial Stadium. We'll take the time out and put a bow on tonight's FNN Coaches Show from Struts Wings in Oxford after this.
Your neighborhood Grub Mart is your one-stop shop for everything you need when you're on the go. Grub Mart features the best prices on Coke and Pepsi products and is the home to the 99-cent bag of ice every day. And Grub Mart is your exclusive home for the popcorn bucket. Purchase yours for only $5.99, then bring it for free refills throughout the year. And save every day with your Grub Mart Super Saver card. When you're on the go, it's good to know Grub Mart has everything you need. Gas, diesel, and delicious Oleo donuts. In business over 78 years, visit your local Grub Mart today.
At Farmers and Merchants Bank, we're showing off our school spirit with our newly designed vertical Spirit debit cards. Now, these are customized with your favorite school's logo, and half of every Spirit card purchased goes toward your school. So, show off your colors and support your local school with the FNM Spirit debit card. You can learn more at fnm.bank. Member FDIC.
Griffin Laser Engraving in Lincoln is your authorized local dealer for personalized Yeti products. Get your Yeti customized for your team, a business, or a special event. Your color, graphics, even photos. At Griffin Laser Engraving, we make it the way you want it. Order just one or hundreds, and you'll find a full line of Yeti coolers and accessories on hand, even the hard-to-find items. Nationally recognized, but right here at home in Lincoln for quality awards, trophies, powder coating, and personalized Yeti items, Griffin Laser Engraving.
Back for the final segment of the FNN Tuesday Night High School Football Coaches Show, live from Struts Wings in Oxford, home of the best wings around. What'd you have tonight?
I did the lemon pepper boneless wings with some waffle fries, and on point tonight, my friend.
And Mr. Medley?
I got this week's dose of Southwestern egg rolls.
Egg rolls. I should have known. Well, I'm taking mine home. Grilled chicken fingers tossed in Worcestershire sauce with a little bit of waffle fries on the side.
There you go.
How's that sound?
That sounds great.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up Friday. Of course, everybody knows we're going to be at Jacksonville for the Bulldogs and the Golden Eagles for the FNN Game of the Week. Joe, what else are we looking at Friday?
Well, we're looking at Lincoln at Alexandria in all region games this week. Central Clay at Elmore County. Aniana at Cherokee County, which we talked about. It's a big game. In that 4A Region 6. Boaz at Cleburne County, a game that was added late in the summer. They did have an open date there when we initially published schedules, but they have that game now. Wadley at Donahoe. Wadley, I think, is getting everybody's attention.
Yeah.
They might be that team that went to the 2021 Super 7. Glencoe at Westbrook Christian. Hanley at White Plains. Hoax Bluff at Geraldine. Victory Christian, Mississippi at Jacksonville Christian. Talladega at Munford, Sylvania at Ohatchee, a game that we talked about earlier, big game in 3A Region 6. Huffman at Oxford, the Yellow Jackets look to go 4-0.
Like I say, you can pretty much count on that by halftime.
And Piedmont at Plainview, Pleasant Valley at Holly Pond. Pleasant Valley looking to go to 3-0 for the first time since 2007. B.B. Comer at Ranburne, Randolph County at Raglan, Dadeville at Sachs. We talked about Springville at Southside. Victory Christian from Alabama at Spring Garden, and Childersburg at Weaver, Beulah at Welborn, and Woodland at Thorsby.
So there you have it. There's the rundown of all the games in the area that you'll be keeping an eye on Friday. And, of course, we'll have scores for you throughout the evening as we bring you the Game of the Week from Golden Eagle Stadium. And, of course, we'll have the full wrap-up Saturday morning with the Average Joe's guys starting at 9:30 when they do their reveal show. Not very creative in the name, but, hey, it's good content. Of course, the rest of the week we'll have coaches on Thursday night before Road to the Blue Mat with the Joes, probably somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock. So lots of great programming for you as we head up to the game of the week Friday night at Golden Eagle Stadium, Jacksonville and Anniston. When you making your pick?
I've already made them.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you pick?
I picked Jacksonville.
You picked Jacksonville. Okay. And you, well, you can't pick. You're calling the game. And I won't pick because it's too early. All right. Well, there you see it on the screen. The Bucks Island Scoreboard Show immediately after the game of the week comes on right around 10 o'clock. And we'll have that for you as well. All the scores from around Alabama, great interviews with guys that call the games across the state. You've got coaches and special guests and just so many other things, and it all comes your way at 10 o'clock right after the Friday night high school football game of the week. We will be at Golden Eagle Stadium there in Jacksonville for all of the action between the Bulldogs and the Golden Eagles for a Region 4. And Joe, I got a feeling this might be a home field advantage game.
Well, and that's the main
reason. It's a little early to say that, but it's got that feel to it to me.
Well, that was one of the main reasons I picked Jacksonville. And two, I think it's going to be maybe a better game than it might have looked like 2 weeks ago. When you saw Anniston play against Welborn and then saw that score from Andalusia, I think Anniston's kind of found themselves. I think it's going to be a good game.
Three things for me. Of course, our game Friday night, Ohatchee and Sylvania, huge. And gosh, Piedmont needs something good to happen. Those are the 3 points for me for Friday.
Piedmont's going to find themselves.
Absolutely.
I agree.
There's no question they'll find themselves. Yeah. That's going to be if they make it in, that's going to be a team you don't want to play week 1 in November.
I tell you, if Cole Wilson performs at a consistent level like we saw in spurts against Cherokee County, I think you may be right about that later on in the season, Jim.
Yeah, a 1 seed could go down to a 4 seed Piedmont if it comes out to be that way. Because we got a lot of football left before we can start drawing brackets and stuff like that. But good thing they need something good to happen to build some momentum off of, and maybe they can get it this week with Plainview. We'll find out. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. For all of our folks behind the scenes, Kirby on the cameras, Jake Jacobs on the computer, my co-host Joe Medley, of course James Hardy, the voice of the FNN Game of the Week, and of course our host here at Struts Wings in Oxford. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you Friday night for the countdown to kickoff, starting at 6:30 from Jacksonville for the Golden Eagles and the Bulldogs. Good night, everybody.